Hello everyone, welcome back, and today we're going to be covering Pridemoor Keep for the Skeletal Sentry route for Specter, Torment, any percent. Now usually Pridemoor is the first stage for Shovel and Plague, but you'll see that for Specter it's quite the opposite. We'll be using quite a lot of darkness throughout the stage, and there's some very complex tricks that makes it incredibly difficult overall. But don't let that keep you from humming along with Jake Kaufman's fresh take on Pridemoor's theme here. It's such a wonderfully happy tune, I love it. Now the way I'm going through the stage, it barely makes it through with the amount of darkness that we have. If you're not comfortable with the route that I'm using throughout the stage, Judgment Rush can be used all over the place, but in order to do so, you would have to pick up that large darkness right there to compensate for the amount of extra rushing that you'll be doing. That said, you can also pick up that darkness for safety's sake, but it is more often faster not to use Judgment Rush for the number of tricks that you can do without. Just try to keep in mind as you practice the stage where you can farm extra darkness really easily, where the small pickups are that aren't too out of the way, and how you can get some extra health if you ever feel like you're uncomfortably low. Because of the amount of excess pickups all over the place, it's not a stage you can easily die in, but you can certainly lose a lot of time on this stage. Now, on the second half of the stage, there is a bunch of different tricks that are coming up, but this one will remain the same. This Judgment Rush is very easy to do. However, this was a recent improvement found by Azoolag. It's pretty annoyingly difficult, but it does save time, and it does also come with the risk of dealing full-hearted damage to yourself. And this is SpeedFrog's legendary quickest books that I recently found comfortable setups with doing, so I'm going to be explaining how you do this and how you do the easier, quicker books. But quickest books is going to be in my repertoire of speed skills from now on, as scary as it is. And King Knight. He's not as bad as he used to be. The setup with Skeletal Sentry just makes him so much easier. I even messed up, but it actually didn't turn out too bad. Normally if he jumps to the left, it's completely irritating. So I'm going to show what it looks like when you get a great kill and what King Knight could potentially do if he decides to be a jerk. Starting back up from the beginning of the stage, we have a room cycle that we need to beat, so you need to be mashing out as soon as you get into the level. Work quickly now, and this isn't very complicated, but you need to be very accurate with all of the steps that you're taking. Get it clear, jump over the first beato, and dash attack the second beato. As soon as you grind off the ledge, do a Judgment Rush the moment you can see the third beato on screen. Hold right and start climbing up the wall, and then as you ledge hop, you're going to keep holding right and do a very late slash so that you can actually hit the Lancer as you pass by him. If you're getting hit by him, it's because you're doing it too early. If you're not getting the attack at all, it's because you're doing it too late. Then do a dash attack on the beato, and you'll just barely beat the first pot cycle here of the lava coming down. This trick was found by Azoolag, and it's much easier with an upgraded Judgment Rush, but we don't have that luxury in any percent. Entering the next room with a jump, you're going to be mashing out Judgment Rush as soon as you possibly can. You're going to be targeting a Lancer on the other side of the room. Now, if you wanted to save every single frame and not waste any of the darkness that you get, then when you jump off the wall, you can attack this rat, and you might get a boost off of the rat if it flies low enough and to the right. But if you're not comfortable with attacking that rat and then carrying on, sometimes it can be tricky jumping off the wall like that. Just ignore it and pick up darkness later on. In the next room, there's two more rats. Just let go of the ladder immediately, Judgment Rush the first one and the second one. Now in the following room, before you Judgment Rush, you're going to want to hop off the ladder, get to the right, over by the dirt brick. This will make it so that your Judgment Rush will face you to the left afterwards. You can just climb up the ladder. Now in this room, as you hop off the ladder, you don't want to go right immediately. You want to try and give yourself some room to pick up speed. Your grinding needs some momentum before you can fully clear this gap in a single jump. If you go too far to the right, then you'll end up catching that ledge and having to hop over it. Now, I killed that rat earlier, so I don't need this darkness pickup. It'll actually barely work out for me. But if you don't care to attack that rat after the long room, then you would just grind over to where the darkness is, and then you would pick up that darkness and Judgment Rush across the room. And I really do recommend picking up that large darkness. It's just much easier to begin with. Now this room normally has some books that you would have to hit. but instead you're just going to grind over these spikes, and if you do a very late jump, get as much height as you can just barely wall walk up to that ladder. Now if you jump short for whatever reason, as you're about to fall down because you run out of your ability to walk up the wall, just jump and keep holding up and you'll probably catch the ladder. Now in this room, I'm going to wall kick here and then grind across, but you can actually make this with a Judgment Rush. Again, you would have to have had that large darkness picked up earlier. And I'm going to grind across, attack the second cricket, or the further cricket, whichever one it is. As I attack it, I'm going to immediately go to the right wall and jump off of it, and then lava should be coming down just in time. You really need to be quick about this, and I'm going to get damage boosted up onto the ledge. Now similarly, Patois has been doing Judgment Rush as he enters the room and attacking the cricket and then doing the same damage boost, but it's a little tighter that way. It's a little harder to make it up the ledge. If you don't make it up the ledge, but you did get a very high damage boost, keep holding right because you should be able to just wall climb barely enough to get up there. If you have spare darkness though, and you did pick up that earlier darkness, then what you can do instead is you can kill both of the crickets if you fail to get up the wall, and then you can Judgment Rush that Silver Knight, and then you can turn left from there. Simple room again, just hug the left wall, cut if you have to get as close to it as you possibly can. I goofed and did a wall climb. In the double Lancer room, I broke the dirt block and then grind and do a dash attack. If you enter the room hugging the right as much as you can actually mash Judgment Rush. It'll target the right Lancer and you can just slash off the wall so that you go down more quickly. But again, that requires more darkness, and you will absolutely need one, while that one was optional later on. Grind across the room, get onto the first chandelier, ledge hop, and then grind straight off, and before you fall to your death, you'll be doing a Judgment Rush on that Gold Duck Knight. Now, be very careful as you do that. You can fall too short and you'll die. The death plane is not that low. This ladder hopping does save a bit of time, and then to make sure I have enough darkness because I didn't pick up the giant darkness pickup earlier, I'm going to walk across, get this darkness, jump, and then hit the spike ball. Otherwise you can just jump straight off the ladder and hit the spike ball, but you do want to hit the spike ball so it's out of your way, and then you can leave the room without any problems. Next couple rooms are super simple, so I'm going to be talking about the damage that's taken throughout the stage. I did a damage boost off the lava pot earlier in the double cricket room, and if you do a Judgment Rush there, then you can technically avoid taking damage, but we don't have any obligation to pick up food while we're in this stage. We can go straight to King Knight. It's a very simple fight, so just keep in mind that under normal circumstances, you're going to be taking 2 damage boosts throughout the stage that deal full hard damage. If you are not capable of taking that last bit of damage, and if you're not comfortable with your King Knight fight, that plate that I'm passing over right there has a very convenient food that you can grab, and it's about the last one you can pick up before the end of the stage. As you can see, I barely had enough darkness for this stage, and when I enter this room I'm going to be using one of it. I just regained a bit of it from the small pickups in that previous room. Make sure you get to the left of this Silver Duck Knight before you rush. This will face you to the right, and then make sure you start falling down past the banner before you start holding left. I have accidentally landed up on that platform and walked into the Duck Knight like a dumb, my bad. But that's more necessary if you're going to be doing Azoolag's new trick that is rushless in this room. This is very difficult, so to make it across this room without using Judgment Rush, you're going to be hugging that left wall as you enter. You're going to be starting a grind as soon as you land on the dirt block, and then stop holding forward. You need to just be at a slower pace to make it across this room, and this is faster overall than using a rush. You're going to do 1 hop onto the stone brick, 1 hop over the Duck Knight, hit the wrecking ball out of the way, and then wait a second, it'll push you back, and then jump, and you'll barely not get hit by the wrecking ball, and you'll have picked up a giant darkness pickup, which is useful for the rest of the stage. Otherwise, you'd be doing a different setup, and I'll be showing that one. So let's say you think Azoolag's trick is kind of dumb. You should know Azoolag by now. He does do a lot of very difficult things. As soon as you enter the room, mash Judgment Rush. This is really, really easy, but now you won't have darkness for the rest of the stage, so you cannot do SpeedFrog's really, really dumb trick. So for SpeedFrog's trick, assuming that you did get the darkness in the other room, you have to have at least 1 darkness to do this, but as you get across the book, hit it and then jump up, do a Judgment Rush to kind of reset your climbing animation, and then switch to your Skeletal Sentry. Have fun with this. As you skate into the next room, you're going to do a light jump. You can't do a full jump, otherwise you'll bonk your head to the ceiling and you'll fall too quickly. Toss your Skeletal Sentry, and you'll barely make it onto the center platform. Then you need to get as much height out of this jump as you can. Jump, detonate, and start climbing. You'll barely be climbing up high enough to make it over this ledge. As you climb up over this ledge, do not hold right. You need to start grinding off as much of the left side of that book as you can, and this is so that you can build up your speed so that you clear this gap without ledge hopping. Now, I hit this book. You do not actually have to do that. If you are fast enough, you don't have to worry about it. It's a little scarier and more dangerous, honestly, to hit that book. So don't bother doing that. Just work on your speed here. You'll barely make it under this lava pot cycle. Make sure you do that dash attack late so that you don't dash attack into the lava. And then you gotta keep going fast. You gotta get over this book real quick because the next lava pot cycle is gonna hit you otherwise. Again, you're gonna grind off this book. You don't wanna jump onto the next one. And then from here, you're going to jump, and that will actually activate this book. So that'll reset the timer. And that'll also give you enough time to avoid getting hit by that other lava pot that was falling down in front of you. You can't beat that one, so don't worry about it. It's not worth trying to damage boost or any shenanigans. This is the fastest way to get through this room, and it is incredibly difficult and dangerous, but once you get the timing of it, it is very familiar. You'll actually get it down consistently. Again, at full speed. Remember, this is a very difficult trick, so I will be showing the easier alternative afterwards. Skating into the next room, light jump Skeletal, jump detonate, grind, do not do any ledge hopping, dash attack the rat, grind again, reactivate the book, grind, and you'll barely make it. That looks terrifying. I don't want to do that. Don't worry, I got you covered, because this is the way that I used to do it for the longest time ever. As you pass by this book, you don't have any darkness from before, so make sure you hit it and then just do some wall hops. Very simple stuff. Now in the following room, you don't have any darkness again, so you will be doing the regular. This is the quick books, not quickest books. Go down to the left, hit the book, jump up, and this is not tight at all, so don't worry about it. Just make sure that you can get across this without fumbling around. Pick up that darkness and activate the book at the same time. It's not difficult. It'll give you enough time to wait for this pot cycle. And as you jump off, as soon as you see the rat, do a judgment rush. This is where you'll need the other damage boost. Just jump off the wall before you take damage so that it damage boosts you onto the book. And then from here, it's super simple. Just keep grinding. Once the lava falls down, you'll already be like plenty behind it. You shouldn't worry about grinding into it. And done. It's so much easier, and it only saves that one pot cycle that we were behind. So at full speed, here we go. Enter the room, hit the book, come up, jump, jump. Activate the book, pick up the darkness, rush, damage boost, jump, grind, and then that jump there will activate the book, so you'll be just fine. So we're almost done with this stage. Now as you enter the room with Plume or Beaky, I can't tell which one it is, just make sure you judgment rush him, and then as you judgment rush him, turn left and dash attack to bounce off of his helmet. It's the fastest way of getting up there. And that's the stage. So yeah, pick and choose, lots of difficult tricks, make sure that you practice all of them. And King Knight, very simple setup for an easy boss fight, but he has a lot of random things that you can do differently. Now this was not a perfect fight, but it was still really good, and this setup is very consistent. Hold left, toss Skeletal, get one attack to the right, start attacking to the left. You want to try and push him back if you can, and then when he gets to your right, jump and detonate. You want to get underneath him onto the right. I wasn't able to, so instead I just stayed on his left. This means that he's not going to hop with the bullets, and he would take enough damage to pretty much die immediately if he hopped in the direction of the bullets. That's why you want to get on his right. So before I show the good fight, I'm just going to show what can happen if he gets away from you. Now Skeletal, thankfully still facing the right here, but King Knight fell into a pit. Those pits are completely RNG, so to finish the fight off, I just did Judgment Rush to catch up to him. But yeah, this setup is really consistent, almost always nets a very quick kill. So here it is at full speed. Skeletal to your right, attack, try and push him back, jump detonate, get underneath him, make sure you're on his right, he'll jump to the right, and kaboom, he just dies. So that'll wrap up every stage here. That's all the night stages. Now we're up to the end game. This is where we're going to be approaching the very deadly Tower 1. So I highly recommend practicing King Knight stage, but especially more so you need to be practicing Tower 1, Black Knight 2, Enchantress, and the final boss. This is where most people are gated from getting under 50 minutes. So until next time, and be ready, stay spooky. Thanks for watching.